Listen to uplifting messages from Insights for Us podcast on Spotify and YouTube.
Hey, welcome. Today, we are going to dive into something that's so powerful, it literally shapes every single moment of our lives, but we barely ever notice it. We're talking about the incredible power of perspective.
So let me just start by asking you a really simple but kind of deep question. How do you see the world? Seriously, think about it. It's not a trick question because your answer is completely unique. And you know what? That answer, that's what defines your reality.
Let me give you an example. Imagine a really difficult task at work. For one person, it might feel like a heavy burden. Right? But for someone else, that exact same task is seen as an exciting challenge. Now, what's changed? Nothing about the task itself. The only thing that's different is the perspective. And that one little shift, it changes absolutely everything. Okay, so let's really dig into this idea of perspective as a kind of lens. It's the framework that shapes the reality that you and I experience every single day.
So what is perspective, really? Well, it's so much more than just having an opinion. You can think of it as the actual lens you see the world through. And this lens isn't random. It's carefully shaped by all your unique experiences, your deepest beliefs, and even your cultural background. It's basically built out of your entire life story.
So yeah, it's way more than just an opinion. Let's talk about the building blocks of our worldview. What actually goes into crafting this powerful lens that we all look through?
It really boils down to three main things. First, our experiences. All the wins, the losses, the good times, the tough times. Second, our beliefs, the core values and principles that guide us. And third, our cultural backgrounds, the traditions, the community, the social norms we grew up in. All three of these things come together to create a lens that is 100% yours.
All right, so we know what shapes our lens, but what about the real-world impact? How does our perspective actually show up in our day-to-day lives? Well, the short answer is everywhere. It affects everything from our split-second reactions to our most important relationships.
It actually works like this incredible chain reaction. See, it all starts with your perspective, that internal lens. That lens then shapes your instant gut reactions to things. Those reactions, in turn, guide the decisions you make, both the big ones and the tiny ones. And over time, all those decisions are what define the connections you have with other people. It's this powerful cycle that's always running. Understanding this isn't just about knowing yourself better, it's totally fundamental to how we connect with other people. When you truly get that everyone is operating through their own unique lens, it just naturally leads to empathy. I love how our source material puts it. It encourages empathy, open-mindedness, and the realization that there's rarely just one correct way to view life. And this leads us to a really cool idea. If we can understand our own perspective, does that mean we can change it or maybe broaden it? Yes, absolutely. And this next part is all about that journey to getting a richer, more expansive view of the world. And listen, the payoff for doing this work is huge. When you actively try to see the world through someone else's lens, you start to genuinely appreciate diversity. You begin to respect differences, not just tolerate them. And you start discovering this surprising common ground, which lets you build way richer, more meaningful relationships. We are going to get to our final takeaway in just a second, but first, just a quick shout out to our supporter, Brickfield HR. They are a trusted partner for all things recruitment, staffing, and HR consulting. You can learn more about what they do over at brickfieldhr.com. Okay, that brings us to our final and honestly most important point. This is the ultimate takeaway here. The idea that choosing to shift your perspective isn't just some small mental trick. It can be a truly life-altering practice. It really all comes down to this single powerful thought. When we learn to see differently, we don't just change our outlook, we change our lives. And this isn't just about thinking positive. It's about consciously shifting that internal lens, which actually alters your entire experience of the world, revealing new solutions, new opportunities, and new connections that you never would have seen before. So I'll leave you with this final empowering thought. Perspective isn't just something that happens to you. It's an active choice you get to make every single moment of every day. So my question for you is, what lens will you choose to look through today? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.